Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because I have my hands on the new palette from Natasha Denona. This is the My Dream palette. I'm gonna give you guys everything you need to know. We're gonna do this eye look together and we're gonna get into it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Little bit of a disclaimer, I am in a different spot because I was competing with the sun in my usual spot and I just couldn't do that today. I haven't posted a video in like 5 days and that's because my eye has been irritating me the entire week. I tried to put makeup on, did not go over well, and I just could not film. I filmed this video today so my eye is kind of a little irritated because I was rubbing it last night and I shouldn't have, but I did, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but I really wanted to film this video for y'all, and I haven't posted it in 5 days, so I was like, okay, it's time to, you know, we gonna push through the eye irritation. Like right now, it's like bugging me, but we're gonna push through. I love my eye look today. I love my makeup today, and that was all because of this palette, so I'm really excited. So let's get into it, shall we? So this palette retails for $69. Yes, the price did go up. It used to be $65. $69 is a lot of money. It's expensive. So I'm gonna just tell you right now, this is a palette that if you truly want it, buy it. If you like have the funds to get it. Wait for the Sephora sale that's happening at the end of October. I just wanted to say that because it's not every day that I'm gonna buy a Natasha Denona palette. I have to love it. I didn't buy the pastel palette because I knew for myself I was not going to use it. But when I saw this palette, it was a different story. I was like, this is my kind of palette. So the packaging is really cool. It has a soft matte kind of feel, and it has these black paint splatters. In a carton as well, it's literally the same. It says Natasha Denona, My Dream palette. So basically Natasha created a palette of her dreams, and honestly, it's like she was speaking to me because this is such a beautiful palette. It truly spoke to me. I just felt like I needed to have it. This is her midi palette. So if you like the midi palettes, you're probably happy to know that this is a midi palette. We are gonna go through all the swatches. I'm gonna live swatch it all for y'all. So this palette is made up of matte eyeshadows, metallic, duochrome, and chroma crystal eyeshadows as well. So it has all of those formulas in this one palette, which is really amazing. It really does add to the value of the palette in my opinion. But you guys, this palette is gorgeous. I will say when I opened it up in person, it is a lot warmer than it is on the promo photos that you've seen. I thought it was gonna be more cool toned. I'm still interested in this palette now, even after seeing that it's more warm toned, which is the kind of shadows that I usually gravitate to. So let's go ahead and get into these swatches on this palette. I am gonna also compare this to the retro palette because a lot of people were kind of comparing those two together. So after the swatches, we'll do a comparison and then we'll get into the eye look. So first shade we have is Blackest Black, and this is a, this is a repeat shade. There's 2 repeat shades in this palette. I have no idea what the other one is, but Blackest Black is one of the repeats. Next we have Aspiration. Then we have Serenity, Copre Dim. We have the shade Babies, which is so gorgeous. Instinct, which is a cream to powder formula. Thrill. These two are more like the toppery kind of shades. Unity. Next we have the shade Risk. So gorgeous. Invention. Ooh, I love that shade. Then we have the Duochrome, which is absolutely gorgeous. That's such an intense, drastic shift, which I love. Then we have the shade Edgy, which is another cream to powder shade. The last 3 shades we have is Spontaneous, Nurture, and then we have Familia, which I'll go ahead and put here. So this is the palette all swatched out. 1 swipe swatches. I wanted you guys to see it with a 1 swipe swatch. But honestly, this palette is gorgeous. I love all the shades in here. Every shade I feel like is very purposeful and it's so stunning. Like I cannot get over how beautiful this palette is. You've seen the swatches and all of that. Let's compare it to the retro palette. So the retro palette is my second favorite Natasha Denona palette. My first favorite is the bronze palette. I just love that palette so much. But the retro palette is definitely a close second. I will say the retro palette, if I'm like describing this palette as a season, I think this is more winter, in my opinion. I feel like it is a lot more berry toned, and it honestly is a lot cooler toned than the Dream palette. But together, these two palettes, they're very similar. Like, they're very similar palettes. Yeah, they're very similar palettes, but they are not the same. This one's definitely cooler. This one's definitely warmer. I feel like this one is definitely the older sister to the retro palette. And I also feel like the Dream palette is just so much more edgy, and like you can really, really smoke out the looks. It just gives me a different vibe. Looking at both of them, and after actually using both palettes, I really do think that I prefer the My Dream palette so much more. I feel like this would have been perfect as the retro palette, if that makes sense. I love this palette, and it's truly becoming a favorite from Natasha. Like, over the bronze, like, I love this palette. It's so beautiful. This is like me in a palette. Like, I literally love this palette so much. But yeah, so we've gotten the swatches, we did a comparison, and now we're gonna get into how I got this eye look. I tried to use as many shades as possible, but like that made sense for the look that I was going for. Let's go ahead and get into the eye look. No, my eye, my eye. I really contemplated on filming this video because my eye has been irritating me this whole week. And last night, I have nobody but to blame. I have myself to blame. I was like vigorously rubbing my eye, and I woke up with my eye looking like this. So I'm so sorry if my eye looks, I'm sorry if this is like bothering anybody, but I wanted to get this video up for y'all. And yeah, and I haven't posted a video in about 5 days, so I really wanted to film, but it's because my eyes have been irritating me all week, and I could not wear any makeup. Like, I just literally couldn't, but I'm gonna try to film this video today. So let's get into the eye look now, shall we? I don't want to zoom too close in. We're just gonna roll with it. I am gonna go ahead and start off with an eye primer. I always do this. I have to use an eye primer. Have to use it. So I'm gonna go in with my Too Faced Shadow Insurance Eye Primer, and I'm just gonna prime my eyes. I am so excited to play with this palette. This palette is absolutely beautiful. I am so obsessed. When I saw the promo photo of this palette, I just knew this was a palette that was gonna be right up my alley, so I had to buy it. This is so beautiful. I will say in person, it does look a lot warmer. Like, on camera, it kind of looks a little bit cooler, but like it looks warmer in person. I am gonna go ahead and start off with the shade Carpe Diem. Right here, it's a really pretty peachy pink kind of shade. I'm gonna take that and kind of use that as like my transition shade. So I'm just gonna run that all in the crease. This shade does show up really well. Love Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes. I feel like they're so pigmented. I feel like they're a really good brand to, you know, test out and use. If you're wanting to try a new eyeshadow formula, I feel like this is a good one. It's an expensive one, but it's really good. This shade's really pretty as a transition shade. I love that she included a peachy pink shade like this. This duochrome is truly calling my name. I'm gonna use this shade right here. It's called Instinct. This looks like it's one of her cream formulas, so I'm gonna go into that shade. And I'm just gonna start to kind of sketch out where I want it. I'm gonna kind of sketch it into a wing. So pretty and so pigmented. So I'm just gonna do that. Wow, this is not gonna like help my eye putting this color on, but we're gonna blend it out. And then I'm gonna take the brush that I used for that transition and just blend out the edges and soften it all up. Now that that shade is all blended out in the crease and it's kind of winged out how I want it, I want to start adding some depth to this look. So I'm going to take this shade right here, which is called Edgy, and I'm going to go ahead and start to add a little bit of depth to this look. So I'm going to focus this shade in the lower V of my eye in the outer corner, just to add some depth. I am going to use the black in this palette because, hello, there's a black in here and I feel like I need to use it. So I'm just building up my crease with the shade Edgy and then blending it out into the shade Instinct. Just for a little bit of depth. You can already see that there's like a huge difference in the depth that we have. Now that that shade's all done, I'm gonna go ahead and take some of the shade Blackest Black, and of course, y'all know I have to use the black. I'm gonna take this shade and pop it in the outer corner just for some depth. Wow, this shade is, I feel like blacks just make any look turn sultry, and I love it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of take this over in the crease, whatever is left on the brush, and just focus it in the crease. I am gonna do a cut crease because I really want this look to look really clean. So that's what I'm gonna do, is a cut crease for this eye look. Really do feel like these shades are blending out really beautifully. Nothing is getting muddy. I feel like I can see every color that I've put down on my eyelids, and I really love it. I just feel like this palette is performing really, really well. I know sometimes people say Natasha Denona's eyeshadows can either be a hit or a miss. These shadows are hitting. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4 shades so far, and all 4 of the shades that I've used are really beautiful, and I'm not having any problems with them. I feel like this look is gonna come together once I cut this crease, so let me go ahead and cut the crease. All right, so the crease is cut. It's looking so good. I'm telling y'all, this look is like literally coming together. I am loving what I'm seeing so far. All right, let's do an inner corner kind of shade. I don't know what to do. This shade Thrill is so beautiful. This is Thrill. Ooh, that would be pretty as an inner corner. This one, Vision, oh my gosh, this like duochrome or triochrome is stunning. I'm definitely putting this on my lid. Babies, ooh, this is so pretty. Babies is really pretty. Ooh, I might take Babies. Yeah, I'm gonna take the shade Babies, which is like that pinky shade right here. And I'm gonna put this in the inner corner. Okay, why is that so pretty? Good choice. Good choice to pop that on the inner corner. Wow. Now, time for this fun shade. I am so excited for this. This is like the Triochrome shade. I'm gonna place this right next to it. Wow, they're cutting grass outside. Love that. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my gosh, this is stunning. This is stunning. This shade right here really does make this palette. Like, what? I need to go back into the black shade and kind of add more depth to this outer corner just to kind of smoke it out a bit. So pretty. Okay, wow. So, you guys, this is basically the look. I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I'm probably just gonna add the 2 cream shades on my lower lash line, and then we're gonna be back for my final thoughts on this palette. So here is the finished look. I kid y'all not, my eye is like so irritating me right now, but I really do hope you guys loved this eye tutorial, or that this video was helpful in the decision if you want to purchase this palette or not. Let's get into my final thoughts on this palette. Now, honestly, I knew I would love this palette. I just knew it from the color story, and I was also hoping that the formula was consistent from the other palettes that I've tried personally, and it is, and I absolutely love it. This palette looks a lot more cool toned on pictures, but in person it is a little bit more warmer, which I love, but there is some cool toned shades in here. Like, there's some cool toned transition kind of shades. I love this. This palette is truly an extension of the retro palette, but better. I feel like this is the retro palette's spunkier, older sister, I guess, if you will. I feel like this is the perfect night out palette. I feel like you could maybe use this for a daytime, but me personally, I would reach for this on nights out. I feel like I don't have too many palettes in my collection where I have that perfect palette for a night out. So I love this. I love the color story of it. I think it's beautiful for the fall time, also the winter time, but I just think this is a gorgeous palette. I also really, really love the packaging. I know some people didn't like the packaging. It was either a hit or a miss for them. They said it looked dirty. I read the comments, guys. I read the comments. I love it. I feel like it looks like art, you know, and that's exactly what makeup is. It's art, and you're using your face as a canvas, which is what I love to do. So I really, really enjoyed this palette. I love seeing something different from Natasha, at least in her midi palettes. I remember she made a bigger palette that cost over $100 for just 3 trio chrome shades. Color in this palette is amazing. I love that, and I just love the tones in here. This is my kind of palette. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you picking up this palette? Are you skipping out on this palette? Let your girl know down below, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, guys.